Good morning, everybody, and I hope you're all well today. I've got John Angus with me. He's back in Skye, and he has just done a 10-day Vipassana. And I thought we need to come on and talk about this because to say that you were high and excited and so inspirational about your experience, John, I was like, we need to talk to people about this. So how are you doing now? How are you feeling now?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Yesterday was a struggle. Yesterday was the day that it finished. So Sunday morning, I kind of spent all day traveling, and the whole experience itself is it's like running a marathon, a mental marathon every day.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, you feel like a different person, but you've depleted your reserves, I think. So the journey home was a long one from near Hereford to Skye. I think it took like 12 hours, get home at 12:30. And then obviously you see the kids first thing the next day. And you're delighted to see them and be with them. But then you're catching up and getting everything tidied up that you've missed since you've been away. And yeah, it was burst last night, but had a good sleep and managed to get up and do a little meditation early this morning. So it's all good. I'm just glad to have kind of landed again back in the real world and not to have been put off by it too much.
Yeah, well, listen, let's just talk about the actual process, right? Because obviously we know it's silence, and it's 10 days. So just talk us through and also it sounds, I know that you've got to sit at peace, which probably scares me more than anything else about it. But talk us through the kind of process of like what happens in day one.
Well, firstly, can I just pick up on something that you wrote on the Facebook post last night, that how can someone get this high from sitting doing nothing for 10 hours per day? And if that was the case, then I think our country would be full of saints. So there's a bit more to it than doing nothing, and we're going to go into that. So yeah, I mean, day one. So I'll just kind of talk. So it's kind of broken down into two sections. First 3 days, you do this meditation called Anapana, which you're only really focusing on the breath that's coming in and out of the nose, the nostrils. And you're just looking to find the touch of the breath and recognize the sensation of that. So it's all about sensation. So this is your kind of training ground around here. So you want to feel the breath go in, wherever that hits, and then when it goes out, if it hits the edge of your nostrils, which I found. And you just want to build up that awareness of those sensations, and then it gradually moves out with your nose. So the exterior of your nose and the top of your upper lip. So you spend your first 3 days doing that. And it was good. It was engaging. I mean, the meditation that I'd always done before pretty much was transcendental meditation, which is focusing on a mantra, and had decent results with in the past. So this was a little bit different in that you were just focusing on the breath and the sensations. So it was good. I really struggled to get comfortable. So there's 11 hours a day allocated for meditation. Only 3 of those are meditations that you have to go to in the main hall. There's 160 of you there's 64 men, 64 women who are partaking in the event, and then you've got about 30 or 40 volunteers who are making the whole thing run, and they're like angels. They're doing everything you need. They're cleaning the toilets, they're making your food, they're making sure you wake up on time. They're just doing everything, and they're old students, so they're people who have been there before. They've seen the benefits of it, and they'll come back because there's also benefits in giving as well. So they're as much as they're serving, they're also receiving at the same time.
And are you sitting on the floor? You sitting like on a
like you have the option to sit in a chair. So initially the first night of it, before the silence, the noble silence starts, we're having dinner, and luckily I was sat on the same table as a guy, and this was his 18th 10-day silent retreat that he's come on. So it was like I was basically sitting with the Buddha, and he told me that yeah, a couple of friends of his had been, and they'd really struggled to maintain a posture, just sitting on a couple of cushions sort of thing and cross-legged or whatever. They'd really struggled for the first 3 days. But as the course went on, they'd slightly miraculously been able to sit with it, and then it eased off as the whole thing went on. So I was lucky I'd been told that, because by the end of day 3, so every night there's a discourse from Goenkaji, the man that brought this teaching to the world, really. And on the Wednesday night, his teaching, he says that the next day there's going to be a 1 hour determined sit, it's called. So you have to maintain the same posture for 1 hour. And my world just started caving in. And I was like, no hope in hell I'm going to be able to do that, because I'm shuffling every 5-10 minutes. I'm lucky if I can stay in the same posture for 5 or 10 minutes. I'm just moving all the time. I just can't get comfortable. So I went to the teacher. You could see the teacher twice a day, once in the afternoon, once after the last meditation at 9 o'clock at night. And I went to him and I said, listen, is there any chance, a lot of people had these kind of wooden things with the backs that you put your cushions on top of. Listen, any chance I can get one of them because my back's really sore? And he's like, nah. And I was like, thought you were going to say that. And that was just, he was basically saying, just suck it up and see what happens. So yeah, anyway, there was a fair bit of kind of fear and trepidation. That was certainly one of the not too many troughs of the experience. Was, oh God, how am I going to cope with this? So anyway, day four strikes, and that's when you start getting taught the Vipassana meditation technique. And I went into this because our good friend Hilary did it about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and obviously saw how buzzing she was after it. But it's typical me, I never looked into it properly, and I didn't really understand what we were going to be doing. And I'm actually kind of glad I didn't, because it's like every few hours there was another surprise. It was like, wow, it was like something, another wall was shattered. But anyway, so you start getting taught this technique. So you've been focusing on your breath around the nose for the last 3 days. And then the aim is to start focusing on your whole body. So going from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. You're just going bit by bit everywhere. And you're looking for sensations in all those parts. You're meditating, so you're in that zone. Whatever's going on here in your third eye, pineal gland, that when you move your attention from whatever that is to a body part, you start to be able to feel that body part. And that's what completely blew my mind. That was my first wow moment. I was like, I cannot believe that you can connect your mind with your body. This thing that's going on, like, how is that possible? I was like, having done TM for 10, 12 years now, I was like, no way is that possible. So anyway, you start going through your body parts, and the whole gist of this thing is when you feel a sensation on that body part, whether it's a pleasant sensation or an unpleasant sensation, it's all about remaining equanimous, so neutral, so not having, oh, that's a nice feeling when you get a nice sensation, or, oh, I don't really like that. It's all about maintaining that equanimity. Because what we're trying to do is, throughout our lives, this life and all the previous ones we've had, it seems to be that, Goenkaji, he talks about it's all about cravings and aversions. So it's about all of the things that, whether we see, we hear, we touch, we feel, we taste, and we get that, it's that point where there's that initial chemical reaction, and you get that hit, and you decide, oh yeah, I really like that. And then inevitably you want more, and you want more, and you want more. And the same thing with someone's nasty to you, and you get that, oh, I don't like that not nice feeling. It's like every single time in our lives that we've had that moment, I've said, the people that I've been trying to explain this to, it's like you're putting a penny in a slot machine or something. It's like you're putting this tiny little penny inside your body and you're registering another either craving or aversion. So think how many times we've all done that today, never mind in our lives. So our bodies are just full of whatever this stuff is. So when you're going around your body and you're feeling a sensation on a body part, the aim is to remain equanimous no matter what that sensation is like. So to be fair, most of the sensations, whether it's pain or it's like little goosebumps or, you know, little pops, you know, the feeling, we feel them every day. But this is when you start to really, and most of them are not really pleasant. Most of them are pretty neutral anyway, I would say, but the main thing is to remain neutral to them regardless. I've only really had probably a couple of situations where I've had a really pleasant sensation. I think I was meditating on my hamstring one day, and I hit something and it was like almost like orgasmic. I was like, holy shit, that's good. So then the difficulty there is obviously no, it's not good. It's neutral. So that's the whole key to it, is to remain neutral regardless of what you feel. So anyway, it comes to the first determined sit, which you have to sit down in the same posture for an hour. And to be fair, the teacher said that if you change posture 3 or 4 times, it's fine. I quickly managed that. So I think I moved twice or 3 times during that first one. And then, so there's 3 determined sits every day. And then the second one, maybe change posture once or twice. And then after that, somehow I managed to maintain the same posture for a whole hour for the rest of the course. And yeah, so every day you seem to start shedding stuff, and you seem to start getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and whatever this thing is doing, it's taking the shit that you've gathered for this lifetime and many others, and it's taking it and putting it somewhere. It's putting it in the bin for you. There's obviously, like, when you go around your body, there's parts of your body that remain very gross, and by that I mean you almost feel no sensation at all, which could clearly be frustrating. But again, the key is to remain equanimous when you get to that point and realize that, you know, the whole thing's also about change. Nothing is permanent. It's even if you had an itch somewhere that you were desperate to scratch. The theory is you just need to sit with it, remain equanimous to that. The urge, the clear aversion you have to that feeling that you want to get rid of it, but just sit with it, remain equanimous, and it will go away because everything changes. So yeah, like, started feeling a difference every day. Felt lighter and lighter. The meditations got easier. Pain in the back started to subside. I now have fingernails, which I haven't really had in God knows how many years. They're normally all over my car floor, that my wife has a really hard time for. So when she goes for her manicure in Bali in a couple of weeks, I'll be joining her.
You had to drop that in there, didn't you?
Also, another example I had, and it's not a particularly good one. If any of you are still eating your superfood birchers, I'm sorry about this. But I have had this like horrible fungal growth on the left tip of my left foot for a long time. And doing some of these meditations, it was absolutely throbbing. It's maybe like the size of, I don't know, maybe a bit bigger than a 5p piece would be. Absolutely throbbing during these meditations, and I just kept on telling myself, just ignore it, just remain equanimous, blah 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 blah. The thing's almost gone. It's about to drop off. It's like a little flicker of something now. So within a couple of days, it's not even going to be there anymore.
Yes.
So like there's these things, and this is the great thing about this course, is that you see change very fast. There's other things that we do in life, and no doubt they're doing some benefit. They're giving us some benefits, but you don't really notice anything unless you stick with it for a while. Whereas with this, it's
10 days.
It's pretty instantaneous.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Hi Nikki. Hi Audrey. Hi Soul to Soul Therapies. Yes, it's very exciting. So it was so interesting for me because obviously speaking to you when you came out and I could feel your energy. I'm like, I'm wanting beside him. I'm going to absorb that incredible energy that you were feeling. I was so excited for you as well, but also excited for Heal Scotland because, you know, we all need to know about these things. And as you know, part of the mission is educate, inspire, and support. So you and I have already been, you know, banding about ideas and how we can bring this information. But ask, how do they decide who gets a wee back chair and who doesn't?
I'd imagine if you ask for it early enough, you'll get it. I don't think they're never not going to give you it. And I guess, and even if you, I said to my mum, I would listen. Everyone I know, I'm desperate for them to go and do this, but I'm fully aware that probably only 2% of the people I know are ready for it or they're up for it.
Yeah.
Either you can be ready for it or you can just throw all whatever, just be careless and just go for it. So I'm fully aware no one's going to want to do it. But Mum, I said to Mum, listen, you could get through this. Like you're allowed to sit in a chair. You only have to go to 3 hours meditation a day. The rest of it, you can say you're meditating in your room, but you can just be chilling. You can get through it. So yeah, and you know, once you've started doing it on the chair or one of these back supports, I'm presuming the same as me. Everything, and I've spoken to a guy. The guy sitting behind me had one of the back supports, and he had some sort of injury, and he said himself, even that had loosened off in the few days that we were there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't need a back support as he progressed, if he keeps the whole thing going. So it's there as an assistance when you need it. And
because I think that there's the whole psychological aspect to it. I mean, I've not done 10 days silence, but I've done 9 days with Joe Dispenza, and I've done 10 days letting go. You know, it's 10 days where all you're doing is well, I'm saying it's nothing, but you know what I mean? Not moving around and jumping around and going in cold water and doing yoga. You're in your inner verse rather than your outer verse, which requires a level of you feeling comfortable. But also when you do it for a while, you don't feel comfortable because we're not used to doing it, right? So clearly we're going out of our comfort zone. But to what degree, it's always the same. To what degree are we prepared to become uncomfortable in order to get the breakthrough that you clearly got? And that's why I wanted to get you when you were fresh out of it, because with the best will in the world, I know when I came back from Sedona and I was like, everybody's got to learn this, it's amazing, I feel amazing, I was so light, I was flying, and da-da-da-da. And then before you know, if people don't join in that enthusiasm, it kind of, you know, day by day can just become a little bit less. So, and that's really what we talk about a lot just now, is staying around these high vibrational people who really, you know, who we can inspire and support each other to do it, because we all know we should meditate. We all know mindfulness is super powerful. We all know staying in these kind of higher vibrational states is much better for us. We feel better, we get better results, our relationships are nicer. We all know the knowledge, again, is not what heals us. It's the practice and the maintenance of the practices that
the hard work only really starts now.
Well, exactly. It's when you're in the environment, it's arguably easier, right? So you can
a million times easier. And there's many folk who were on the retreat who this was like their 4th, 5th, 6th time, and I was like, oh, so do you keep it going in between? And they're like, nah, I was just kind of let it go. And don't get me wrong, I completely get that, because how many of us are so time impoverished that you're never going to manage 2 hours meditation into your day? No chance.
I know. Well, I mean, that's why Joe's getting up at 4, you know, because that's a time where your kids, hopefully, depending on what age they are not going to be up, and you can dedicate that time to yourself, because it is a dedication.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
So potentially you could be meditating from 4 a.m. till 9 p.m. Is that right?
No, there's breaks in there. So like, wake up at 4:30 till 6:30 was meditation in your room or in the hall. 6 till 8 was breakfast. 8 till 9 was the first determined sit. 9 till 11 in the hall or in your room. 11 till 1 lunch break. 1 till 2:30 hall or room. 2:30 till 3:30 determined sit, you had to go to the hall. 3:30 till 5, hall or room. 5 till 6, dinner, which was only a bit of fruit. 6 till 7, third determined sit. Everyone has to go to the hall. 7 till 8:15, you would get a discourse. So you would get on the big screen the Goenkaji, who is the man who brought this to the world from Burma. The story's pretty cool. He goes through it. He gives you a bit of a lesson and a bit of inspiration and storytelling every night from 7 till 8:15, and then from 8:15 till 9. You've still got 45 minutes left, so fuck it, why not just meditate again? And then
how many people, I would imagine, but this may not be true, this is me not having done it, that it would just be easier to be in the hall to meditate with others, or not?
Yeah, like I tried to stay in my bed one of the first couple of days, and inevitably I just kind of slid down into my bed, and it's a lot easier to do that. So yeah, pretty much after that, I tried to go to the hall every day, and obviously you don't have to sit and meditate for the 2 hours or the hour and a half. You can be in and out. You can do half an hour, go outside, stretch, and come back in. But it's a safety net for those people who think, God, there's no way in hell I'd be able to do 11 hours meditation a day. You don't. Like, you can be in your room. You know, you can just be chilling in there. So that's a safety net.
So they teach you how to do this process. So there's an actual physical process that you go through. They teach you how to do it.
Yeah,
do that via videos.
Yeah, via videos and then via audio. So this was all recorded in 1991. That's the most frustrating thing, is that people have been doing this for so long, and now we're the only. So this was all recorded in 1991 when he did one of his teachings in England. So we just go through all of the recordings of that 10 days. Yeah, and then you've got there's assistant teachers, that one male, one female, and they're there to answer any questions you have regarding the technique and how you're getting on with it during the lunch break, and also after the final meditation every night. So they're there for any questions.
You can speak, but only
at
these
times. Yeah, you can speak to them.
Yeah. Okay. And what about making eye contact with other people? Are you allowed to make eye?
Nah, no eye contact, no gestures at all, I think. So I had 2 roommates throughout the whole thing, and unfortunately I never got to meet either of them before I started sharing a room with them, that was probably the most frustrating thing for me. I just missed the first guy during the night that we arrived, because I was at dinner and our paths didn't cross before the silence fell. And then the second guy, so the first guy, he was really struggling with insomnia, and he told the teacher that he was worried that he was affecting me. So then I got moved to this other room next door. And yeah, so and the only way that I was then able to communicate with this guy that I'd never met before was just by holding doors open for him. So that was my way of making him know that I wasn't a dick.
And did you sleep okay?
Not great. I had maybe one night where I slept for 6 hours, but it probably averaged like 4. And for me, that's nowhere near enough normally. I'd normally need 7 or 8, like minimum. There was one night, so the teacher gave his discourse like 7, 8 o'clock that night, and he talked about these people who meditate frequently, and that actually they don't need that much sleep. All they need to do is rest their bodies, so they just need to lie down, and they can just be in this state whereby they're feeling the sensations in their body, so a bit cold feet, or the little clicks and whatever that go on with us, so they can just remain in that state, and actually your mind, whatever is actually very rested in that state. You don't necessarily have to be in a sleep state to get what you need. So there was one night where I think I went to sleep at 10, woke up at 12:30, and also the key is to not get frustrated when you can't get back to sleep. That's what exhausts you for the next day. So none of this, oh Jesus, I need to be up at 4 o'clock. Like that's what's going to ruin your next day. So I was so glad that it must have been divine or something, that I'd just been told that if you can't get back to sleep, don't spend your time worrying about it. just lie down and just remain with your senses, like just check in with your body, see what it's doing, and it's actually a really peaceful state to be in. And you just like, and before you know it, it's 4 o'clock and you're ready to go again. And don't get me wrong, the next day I wasn't full of energy, but I would never have survived a day like that on 2.5 hours sleep before. So yeah, that was good.
Absolutely. I mean, Joe Dispenza says that as well. He said, when you meditate regularly and properly, deeply, when you get good at it, you don't need nearly as much sleep. What about the food? Was the food good?
Food was great. It was
there enough?
Yeah, there was plenty. But what we were also told is you don't want to stuff in yourself, or else you're not going to get the most out of the meditations. So yeah, it was great. Very similar to the kind of stuff that I make. So yeah, can't complain at all about the food, and they cater for dietary requirements if necessary as well.
Cool. Yeah. And did anybody leave before the 10 days?
I think there was a couple of guys, having spoken to others, that we noticed weren't there at the end, and maybe 2 or 3 ladies. But given that was like out of 130 people, I think maybe six or so might have left. But I'd imagine that's kind of par for the course. I was amazed more men hadn't, because you're very separate. The men and the women dine separately, live separately, and you only come together when you're in the main meditation hall, and even then you're divided down the middle. So we're not really aware of what happens on the female side, but yeah, on the men's side, there only seems to be a couple that dropped off, which it's not an easy thing, but if you like, I think the changes that you experience are well worth going through any barriers that you face.
Did you think about leaving at any point?
No, I had a couple of teary moments, just missing the girls, really. I think myself and Marcy got married in a registry office in Portree 5 years ago, and it's not the wedding we wanted, so we've been putting off planning a big party in Poland at some point. So I think just lying in bed one night, I was just starting to imagine that, and God, I'm getting a wee bit emotional just thinking about it, but just imagining the girls being there, and yeah, that was
and me.
And you, yeah. Just the 5 of us.
Yeah, one of my friends has done, and she said she cried a lot. I think generally speaking, women tend to cry more than men. I don't know whether that's true or not. It seems that way, but I did wonder if there was emotional breakdowns or breakthroughs, as we call them now. And
yeah, there will be.
And I suppose you're still processing, obviously.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Kind of. I mean, you were in Glasgow and then you had that drive back up to Skye, which is. How did it feel being out?
Yes, and that's the hard part. The hard part now is to obviously keep the meditations going a couple of hours a day, ideally, but then you don't want to be putting any more coins in the slot, and that's what's really tricky, is being equanimous to when someone's nasty to you, or when you really want to have that bar of chocolate, or I don't have to explain it to many. So that's the real difficulty now. But as the teacher said, the more you go through this and the more layers of stuff you shed, actually the easier it gets to be equanimous in these situations. And another thing I would say as well is that it's quite a spiritual course, in that this is what the Buddha did 2,500 years ago. This is how the Buddha treated himself, Gautama. He did this day after day after day. And then eventually became enlightened, and he spent the rest, I think it was when he was like 36 or something, and he spent the rest of his life until he was about 80 teaching people how to do what he'd rediscovered. It had been lost to humanity for thousands of years. It's probably something that we all knew how to do at some point, and he rediscovered it, and then he kept on teaching people throughout his whole life. He was then just of service to everyone, because he'd done everything he needed to do, and he was just of service to everyone then. And then at some points in India's history, it kind of got lost because of various rulers came in and realized the potential of it to why would we want everyone to be happy and well, you know? So it had been lost at some points. And then the teacher giving the course tells a story that a few people were kind of, you know, banished to Burma, and which neighbors India, and they managed to keep the pure technique that the Buddha had taught. And the teacher that teaches us had learned from a teacher in Burma who gave him this pure technique. Maybe everyone says that, maybe everyone doesn't say that, I don't know. But anyway, in fact, a really interesting story quickly about the teacher who taught the teacher was this guy in Burma. He was just like a clerk in the kind of civil service, very low ranking guy. He did the Vipassana technique, kept on doing it clerk in the office. He heard about the Vipassana technique being taught by a local farmer. He asked if he could get 10 days off. The office said, no chance, you're not allowed to take that amount of time off. So he was like toying with it for a few days, and he eventually says, just stuff it, I'm just going to go. And he went and did the course, came back 10 days later and saw a letter on his desk, fully expecting it to be a letter of dismissal. But it was actually, he got a 50% raise and a promotion. So, and then this guy continues to meditate, and he continues to rise through the ranks in the civil service in Burma. And then Burma becomes independent. He gets made the like head accountant general or whatever that is. And then in a very corrupt department that's full of people who are giving backhanders and, you know, dodgy deals. And he starts to teach everyone in that office Vipassana, and all of the corruption just disappears. It just purifies that place. And then the Prime Minister's like, can you go and teach us in other places? He's like, no, I don't want to leave this office, because then they'll all revert and they'll go back to normal. And he ends up being the head of he's got like 4 different roles within government, because he's teaching all these different offices Vipassana, and he's like purifying the whole thing. He ended up going into prisons as well, and like doing it with prisoners, and just incredible results. So Goenkaji learned off this guy. He goes to India because his mum's unwell, and his mum and dad agree to be taught this for 10 days in their house, and then some of their friends come along as well for the ride. Has great success for them, and then all of a sudden other people hear about it and they keep coming, and he never managed to leave India. He never went back to Burma. This thing just took off where he started teaching everyone there, and then now he's got centres all around the world. And actually, sorry, I should just add in there that Goenkaji, when he was a successful businessman in Burma, and he really struggled with headaches, migraines, and he tried to have them fixed in Burma for the best doctors in Burma. They couldn't fix them. He then went around the world trying to find the best doctors in the world to fix this. None of them could help him. Vipassana fixed it. And yeah, so you just have to experience it for yourself. We all have ailments and things that we want to be made better, and I don't know which ones respond or not to Vipassana, but I would say it's worth a gamble.
Well, again, going back to Joe, because he's a kind of, I suppose, the modern day version of what he does. It's, are you good at it yet? If you're not getting a result, it's probably because you're not very good at it. And are you willing to stick at it until you...
Remain equanimous to the fact that you might not be good at it. That's the key.
Yes, absolutely.
You need to be so patient, because there's many days where you have this, you know, you were getting so many sensations on your left arm. Yesterday it was like bouncing, and then you come back the next day, you can't feel anything. But instead of being disappointed, you need to remain equanimous, because this is like 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. It's that kind of game. So you just need to remain impartial the whole time. So there was a couple of times that I went for a meditation. Most of my body was blank, like hardly getting anything, but just remained okay with it. It's fine. Then the next meditation after that, you come in and things are just like popping everywhere. Like I haven't described this to you yet. Maybe I have. There was one point I was focusing on my forehead.
Yes, you did tell me about this.
And it was just like ding 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 ding. And it's like peeling away some layer of whatever's underneath the skin, some layer of this crap that we've gathered that's been blocking something. And the signal that's coming out of your third eye, pineal gland, intensified. So then my next port of call in the order that I was going around my body is the nose. So focused on my nose, and then all of a sudden my nose is just like pulsating out my face. There's so much energy that's been released, or blockage that's been released from the forehead, that's now allowing the intensity of the meditation to have increased. And yeah, wow, just unbelievable. Just so hard to put into words. Oh, yeah. Mad.
Liz is asking, do you have a diary or paper to write things down?
No, you're not allowed to.
You're not allowed to. No, I wondered
I think
about
it would just distract you too much.
What's your biggest takeaway from it?
My biggest takeaway from it, or one of the biggest takeaways, is, it has been so good meeting you, being empowered by you, as many others of us have been for the last 2 or 3 years. Some even.
Thank you.
And everything Heal Scotland does is incredible. Most of it is inputs from the outside. Most of it is getting in cold water, heating up, doing the tapping and all this incredible stuff that we do with you. This is the first time that I've journeyed on the inside. Mm-hmm. And I've shed like some, despite the fact that I started this food truck 3.5 years ago, changed my life, felt like a completely different person inside, but I still feel like I've been carrying around lots of heaviness and darkness that I cannot shift. I've not been able to shift, and I haven't been able to shift throughout a lot of the modalities that I've only dipped my toe in, to be fair, and not consistently practiced. But within a few days, so much of that darkness has lifted from me. And I'm gobsmacked. I'm completely gobsmacked by it. It's the most incredible thing, and I think actually when I started talking the last time, I wanted to say that it's a very spiritual thing, but it's not religious. Yes. Although the Buddha discovered it, it was only Buddhism that used what he did to create its own kind of religious take on it. But this thing is very pure. It's all about the technique. There's much spiritual and religious, spiritual chat in it, because it is a very spiritual thing. But having been reading A Course in Miracles over the last wee while, so much of it, which again is spiritual, not religious, there are so many things that align with it. So that was, one thing I would say is that I felt very lucky that I already had some pillars in place in terms of the knowledge that I had gained through working with you and reading A Course in Miracles and all these, listening to Zach Bush and whatever. So I was lucky that I'd come into a place where it didn't seem very woo-woo, but you could still go into this thing without any spirituality at all, and all you have to worry about is getting the technique. And don't worry about any of this stuff that the master says. It's like having a bowl of this porridge and there's like loads of seeds in it. Just pick the seeds out. You don't need to worry about the seeds. If you don't want to listen to that, just only worry about the porridge. Only worry about the technique. That's all that matters, and anything else might come later.
Yeah, and that's what was so interesting, because I've been down the fascia rabbit hole and the 528 gate. I mean, that's all I'm teaching right now, and also with the Sedona method and letting go. What is, just as you said there, you put a little bit of it into retreat. You don't spend the whole retreat doing it, which is what you do at Joe Dispenza, what you do at Sedona, where you're just immersed in that technique, like you were immersed in that meditation. And it made me think, because I'm doing a 528 up in Skye and in Cretan, and it's going to be all the inside. And I was saying to you, as you were explaining, I was thinking, is that toroidal field? Is the toroidal field that loving presence that we can all feel? Is that like the Holy Spirit? Is that consciousness? There's so many words, because the words can put people off as well. And is that why, when, again, going back to Joe, because my science head wants to make sense of it, and I know we can't make sense of everything, but when that blueprint for for health, the blueprint that made the body in the first place before we came in and trashed it. It's there, and the body can return to that blissful kind of state of awe. And also with the fascia, this crystalline plasma that they're saying now is 6 times faster than the nervous system, which is incredibly fast. And the DNA, the way the DNA the energy goes through the DNA and through the plasma, which is full of, is all of that. When you're talking about holding your focus, and we were actually doing this at the Goddess Gathering, holding your focus. Again, there's research now that shows you hold your focus there, and the fascia can unravel. And Joe Royal talks about it as well, that when we're in that state, the body just starts deleting all the old files, unraveling all the mess we've made. It's almost like spring cleaning the body for us, where a lot of the things in the West where we need to do things because we're not very good at actually just sitting and being with the body. It freaks people out sometimes.
No,
and
totally. Sorry, go for it.
No, because we're not holding the focus. And you think of like all the data around visualization, because that's the other thing I was wanting to talk to you about, where there's a difference between just staying inside and holding your focus on an area and truly knowing that area is going to return to homeostasis. Whereas, again, with what Joe would do, he would be in the blessing of the energy centers. I think he's up at, 9, 10, 12 now, where you're actually using your imagination to drop new information into these centers, but you're still required to hold your focus there.
Yeah.
So it's almost like there's 2 different ways to do it, and I think the way you're describing is probably easier for my mind anyway. You just go there and you just hold your focus there. And when we were doing it at the weekend, I would bring the attention back. We did some yin yoga and we stayed in the sensations, because I suppose what we need to look at is how we can bring people here to this phenomenal way of self-healing, which is really obviously what Scotland's all about. And again, it's free.
But anyone can do it. And I've not said this yet, but the course is free. That's the most beautiful thing about this whole thing, is that you can go and do this 10-day course and pay absolutely nothing. It's donations based. Yeah. So obviously, if you're abundant, you can cover the cost of the next 4 people who can't afford to pay coming for the next class. And that's what makes it feel so genuine. There's clearly like great courses going on all over the place. You have to pay £3,000 to go and do Hoffman technique or something like that. You can come and do this and you can do it for free. And that for me, that makes it genuine. That makes it. You just
need a heartfelt desire, don't you? Yeah. And we say that about healing as well. It's like the money's in, and if somebody truly, genuinely wants that, that's what you want. That desire, that passion, that draw to change. Because I mean, we're making it sound like you're sitting doing nothing and holding your focus. We all know that's difficult. And we also all know it's easy to do it in a retreat setting, and we've talked about this loads. Even when I did the 3-month retreat, you're going back to where all the problems started, and that's why we have to address all of this at a community level and make sure that, instead of like having to go to church to pray, that there's a community hall where you can go and meditate with everybody 2 or 3 times a day, place you can go and breathe. I mean, we've set up, there's lots of people getting into cold water. That seems almost like a little bit old hat now, but it's still a maintenance protocol.
It needs to continue, 100%. It needs to continue.
Yeah. So, and there's lots of people getting into groups. And I was talking at the Goddess Gathering about, invite people around to your house. You don't need to pay for a hall until 100%. We can actually get community halls actually being about the community and not having to pay, crazy amounts.
No, exactly. And that's what I said to you, is that I would love to be able to teach this to people, but I would happily just do it in my house. And that's how Goenka started. He went to his mum and dad's house, taught them and a few friends. But as soon as enough people have felt it, then people are going to start flocking to it. It's really that profound, and
and that's what's happened now. People are flocking to certain things because they're not doing it from this; they're doing it from here because there's something. And I suppose my teacher, Harold Waskin, used to always say, you're not suffering enough yet. Once you're suffering enough, you'll move and you'll do what needs to be done. And obviously going back to Joe again, he said, why wait until the suffering takes you there? Why not do it before?
That's why I started the food truck, because I saw my uncle be severely ill with cancer for many years, and he really did try to make a change with his diet. He had loads of stuff, but there was something that bothered me for so long, and it's like, why did he wait till he got sick before he did all that? So that was one of the main reasons for making that food truck, was I just want to be in that now before I get really unwell. But
yes.
It's happening. It's going to be there. That's going to be the environment, I promise you.
Yeah, no, well, you're certainly an absolutely shining example of what's possible. And yeah, if we can bring this to Scotland, when we bring this to Scotland, and you can teach this, it's just going to be another phenomenal tool to add to the box.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out quickly to Carol Ann Watson, who I'm sure a few of us on this know through doing various things throughout Heal Scotland. She came up to at least one, maybe two of the retreats at Sligachan this year.
I know.
He's going in tomorrow.
Oh, great.
To do 10 days. So sending her so many positive vibes, and cannot wait to hear how she got on. And maybe she'll even come and tell you, Lilia. Who knows, after she's...
Yes, I'll send her a message, and because it would be lovely to get her perception. Yeah. Because, I mean, again, not everybody has the exact same experience.
No, and that was really interesting, speaking to everyone we got let out. Like, some people just didn't engage at all.
Is that right?
But, yeah, they found it a real struggle. But it really depends where you're at when you go in there. But it's probably only really a proper struggle if you don't embrace the technique and start being equanimous to the good and the bad. That's the key. It can really get you if you don't maintain that neutrality to.
Well, it's a neutral place, the observer, the detachment. At Sedona Method, we talk about attachments and aversions. So we're either getting pulled toward things or getting, and we do that, don't we, with almost everything. I mean, the great thing about the Sedona Method is you can practice it a week. You can practice it when you're with people. Just feel the feeling, let it go. Feel the feeling, let it go. Feel the feeling, let it go. And again, if you do that, I do that every single day. You can do it without having to have that space. Because again, when I was studying with Joe, I thought, but then it became trying to get a tired mum up at 4 a.m. to meditate before she goes into a 14-15 hour day. It's just not a solution for everyone. So, and that's the other thing, isn't it? Is learning things that can work for you at this moment in time. And, they say that often men, because their life doesn't get interrupted in terms of the physical pregnancy and physical feeding of babies, they can, generally speaking, if they're committed, they can maintain their practice in a way that women very often can't. But we can do it. There's other ways to maintain our equilibrium, which is what I was still talking about. You want to stay feeling like that, inspiring others and really keeping your vibration up, because it's having that loving light feeling for free.
Yeah, totally.
And if we don't continue to do the work, inevitably we can sink back down. So this is, again, we're talking about at the weekend and at the Vax Injured retreat last week, your tribe, and I mean that in a non-tribal way, finding people that you find it really easy to be around, that are always going to inspire you. Siobhan and I were talking this morning, we were like, super excited. Same, I'm going up to meet Lorne and then Jonathan, and just really super excited about, and it's just so much easier when you're in that position.
Yeah, and I think what you just said, so much of it comes down to communities not really being set up to share burdens. So that's how we have to be moving forward, so that burdens can be shared, so the mother who is breastfeeding her baby doesn't have to feel like she needs to make dinner that night. She can have it made for her by the team in the community, or they're making the food, or there's another team who are washing the clothes for people as well. We need to start helping each other out. We're all individually struggling. We need to start collectively thriving.
Yeah, absolutely.
And before we finish, I just want to talk a little bit about my own project, which I haven't talked about for a while online, but very much working under the surface to get things going, and really hope that this premises in Portree, still waiting for it to come up for lease official, but really hope that I will be the chosen tenant going forward, because as you know, it's a fantastic venue. And really, I want anyone who kind of knows me or knows the story to start believing that that space will come good, and that by spring next year we'll be in there. We'll be dishing out loads of amazing food. And actually, the retreat that I've just been on, it's really inspired me to dish it out for free on a donations basis, so that people will be able to come and eat the food that I make for nothing. In the hope that people can afford it, will pay a little bit more to cover the cost, because we don't really want the costs aren't going to be great. Hopefully, it'll be largely volunteer run, and the volunteers will get great benefits from it as well. So yeah, I just want you to know, if you've met me, you know the story, just to hold it in your heart and to believe that it's going to happen, and we'll see it over the line, and then that'll be the start of the dominoes falling. The
community eating, the community sharing, and yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was talking to Jonathan, but obviously he met you at in Strontian, and had that model, which was just so phenomenal to watch. I mean, I know it was a lot of work for you. I do understand the buying and the preparing, etc. But it really, that can be refined, and especially when you're in one place and you don't have to be carting everything around. Yeah. And then, and you can bring in, talk to Ilse as well about the cooperative model, because we were talking about that for the cafe that's going to be at the hub, where, again, this idea, we just bring people in, show them what to do, and then get them back into their communities, to do it. Because you can't be everywhere, as I can't be either. So we need to be getting these skills and the passion and and also it's this idea that we need to be waiting around for either the government or big pharma or somebody to come and save us, somebody with money to set things up. I just don't think that's the case. I think if we all can chuck a $5 each in the community, and we just create these things ourselves, we don't need to wait. We can do it today. We can start.
Anyone who's spending any time blaming anyone for anything need to stop right now and just start the change they want to see. It's a complete waste of time blaming anyone, and the people that we're trying to blame, they're just completely ignorant to the truth and what's to come. And when it does come, when this world does change, we can be nothing but forgiving towards these people. There'll be no I told you so, be none of that. So we need to stop blaming now, and only forgiveness in the future as well, because they're the ones who really need healed.
Yes, exactly. And again, it's like I keep saying, we need to be looking forwards. Stop dragging the past along with us and wanting, justification and revenge and all the stuff that we all quite naturally as humans feel that we want to be. I was talking to my son about it this morning. It's just about, let's just move on and forget all about that. People are going to change their minds. People are going to see the new levels in consciousness, and things are going to change. We know that. It's just how we can navigate it and be ready for it. That is exciting. Well, listen, I know that you're off on a phenomenal trip for a couple of months, and I will live vicariously through your photos and updates. And it's actually kind of perfect time for you, because you'll be able to sneak a wee bit of time in the sun and the sea to maintain and learn with, different modalities as you go. It'll be amazing.
Oh, I feel very blessed. And, we're actually going to this kind of quite spiritual place, Ubud in Bali, where Marcy's brother lives. He's been living there for a wee while, and I've just convinced him to do the Vipassana technique as well. He's signed up to do it in January. He's a very spiritual guy, but he's not quite found his way. So I'm buzzing to get in there and learn the same thing. And then I'd love for him to come back here and bounce off each other, and because he's worked with us in the past. So yeah, I feel very blessed to be doing what we're doing in the next couple of months, but also very excited to come back and start doing
and get into it. Yeah, because I think what's happening now is, and I know with you, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? And up until recently, it's just been share the events or come to the events. And now we're going to have physical spaces and places that we can actually bring people together, because we know that's when the real magic happens. And obviously we've got the circle community, we've got the online community that you can join in $5 a month. if you're a business and you want to share your business in there, it's £12 a month. So we'll have an online version for the people that right now can't come out their homes, but we're looking for solutions for everybody, and we need interaction, people to interact. What do you need? What can you do? What can you help us at the academy? We're going to be teaching people to fish because there's not enough doctors and healers and leaders in the world for the level of dis-ease and unease we have right now. People need to understand the magnificence of the body, the excitement about the fascia, about being a energy field, interacting with an energy field and attracting. I mean, the people I'm meeting right now are blowing my mind. It's just like, wow. Because we take it for granted because we've had quite a strong community for a few years now. But a lot of people they're feeling like us, but they don't know where to go. So we're all coming together to find the solutions and to co-create the new earth.
Yeah, these permanent spaces are going to be absolute game changers that people can come to all the time because, like you say, the festivals and stuff are great, but then people go back home and the environment is appalling. So, yeah, exactly. The environment's going to be beautiful very soon.
Yeah, amazing. Well, listen, have a wonderful trip, and I'll see you on the other side yet again.
Cheers.
Thanks, hon. Ciao, ciao.